Greetings, nerds! Eric, Robert, as you know, I've recently experienced a little trauma in my life, and so that's got me thinking, and so today I wanted to talk to you both today about how we as humans deal with troubling life events. Sometimes in life, things happen. Well, things are always happening in life, but I mean specifically sometimes negative things happen. Not all of life's events are under our control. The universe is too massively huge and complicated for us to control even our tiny corner that we inhabit. And people just confuse and confound that equation all the more. At some point in our lives, we're all going to experience loss and pain. You might experience a disaster, lose a loved one. You might feel betrayed, discarded, or persecuted for any number of reasons. And when things of this nature happen, we're basically given two choices: react or act. Our bodies are very old. You might not be old, but our body systems, the things that keep us alive every day, are at least hundreds of thousands of years old. The autonomic nervous system is part of your nervous system that runs all of the automatic portions of your body. Kinda says it in the name, doesn't it? The autonomic nervous system regulates your heart rate, digestion, sexual arousal, pupillary response, respiratory rate, things like that. And it can be easily broken down into two systems: the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is what triggers your fight or flight response, whereas your parasympathetic nervous system, para, at or to one side, activates your rest and digest response. Imagine, if you will, you're a hunter-gatherer, and you're out for a walk in the woods. You've just had a large meal of dried berries and fruits and maybe some bear jerky. As a side note, this may be the only type of jerky I'd actually be interested in. When all of a sudden, a large honey badger jumps from behind a tree and tries to attack your face. Before you even have time to think, the moment you perceive danger, your sympathetic nervous system snaps into action. The sympathetic nervous system kind of acts like the robot from Lost in Space, is kind of always screaming, "Danger! Danger! Danger, Will Robinson!" It quickly starts looking around at all the different body systems and trying to figure out where it can conserve the most energy, and starts shutting things down that it doesn't find useful, and starts transferring that energy elsewhere so you can survive. It shuts down your digestive system, which you'd be surprised to find out uses a lot of energy. It kicks up your heart and respiratory rate to get oxygen to the muscles in your body. It vasodilates some of your blood vessels, that means to make them larger, so that more blood can get through, in certain places that it thinks is important, like your skeletal muscles, your heart, and your lungs, whereas it constricts them in other places, like your skin. It also shuts down your immune system. There is a huge, complicated list of what goes on, but basically, it's shutting things down that it finds useless and kicking things on that it needs. This system is hardwired into your body, literally. Every time that you feel stress, that is your sympathetic nervous system being triggered. It's no wonder that when we are confronted with stressful situations that we react in this way. We either run as fast as we can, or we punch the honey badger right in the face! These are not always the most healthy of responses when you transfer this analogy into modern society. In 1939, the British government tasked the Ministry of Information with developing several motivational posters, specifically designed to increase and strengthen the morale of the British people. They printed more than 2.5 million of these posters before the start of World War II, and they were distributed only in limited numbers to the major cities. They were never actually displayed publicly in any official sense, although the phrases on the posters were used in pamphlets that were signed by Winston Churchill. There were actually 3 posters in this series, and although they were never really displayed publicly, officially, they are very British. Flash forward to the year 2000, and the third in the series of posters was rediscovered by the owners of a small bookshop in Northumberland. Robert, you may remember Northumberland. That was where we stayed in the haunted castle. The owners of this tiny bookshop framed the poster and hung it up behind the cash register, where over time it seemed to gain a lot of attention. If you've spent any time searching around on the internet, you may recognize the poster. Keep calm and carry on. When we're confronted by something stressful, we have 2 options. As I mentioned, react or act. When we're confronted by something stressful, we have two options. We can use our body's natural instinct and react, or stop, take a moment, breathe, and choose what we're going to do next. We can't control the actions of those around us any more than the British could have kept the Germans from going to war. We must deal with what they've chosen to do. It's not fair, but it's how it works. What we can do is choose how to react. It's not always easy. Life can sometimes feel like everything's coming at you at once. In healthcare, we teach patients how to identify non-modifiable risk factors and modifiable risk factors. Modifiable risk factors: smoking, diet, weight, exercise, lifestyle. Unmodifiable risk factors: genetics, family history, age, gender. The same sort of thing applies to when taking on life challenges. Not every problem is currently modifiable. Trying to fix non-modifiable life factors is just gonna be a lot of wasted time and energy, and we end up feeling frustrated and discouraged and defeated, and then we don't have the energy to try and fix the modifiable life factors. Often in life, when we experience unpleasantness, it feels immediate. Do or die. When in truth, most things we have time to sort out. That feeling comes from our hardwired defense system, the sympathetic nervous system. Our bodies cannot tell the difference between a hungry bear and an angry boss staring you down. It reacts in the same way to both stressors. And when our sympathetic nervous system has a hand on the wheel, we're not always thinking the most clearly. Often, the best thing for us to do is take a deep breath and activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Yes, I know I said it was automatic, but you can actually activate it via biofeedback. That's something I will talk about in a different video. Rest and digest the problem. When your thinking is clear again, that's when we have the most options and when we can find the best solutions. I think this is something that we need to keep in mind on both ends of any form of life trauma. Whether it's coming at you or you're the unfortunate person who has to give it to someone else. Nobody likes to cause anyone else pain. Most people don't like to cause other people pain. And oftentimes we feel rushed to finish with a problem that we're currently dealing with. Life does feel short, but when it comes to life events, I think that we need to spend a little more time fixing them instead of worrying about them. Thanks guys, I hope that you had fun with today's video, or at least got something informational about it, something to think about in the future next time you're dealing with a modifiable or a non-modifiable life challenge. And as always, keep calm and carry on. DFTBA.